Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. The studio lights had always been kind to Kelly Ripa. They softened the edges of exhaustion, painted cheer over long mornings, and made everything feel survivable. But this morning, the lights felt cruel, too bright, too revealing. Kelly sat in the familiar chair, her hands folded tightly in her lap, knuckles pale. Across from her was an empty seat, Mark's seat. For years, Mark Consuelos had been her constant, on red carpets, in family photos, in the quiet moments no one ever saw. Strong, steady, laughing. The man who made chaos feel manageable. The man who promised again and again, "We've got this." But today, Kelly wasn't sure they did. The diagnosis had come quietly, almost politely, delivered in a sterile room that smelled of disinfectant and fear. The doctor spoke in careful sentences, avoiding words that sounded too final, too sharp. Still, every syllable landed like glass. Chronic, progressive, uncertain. Kelly nodded, because that's what people do when they're trying not to fall apart. Mark had squeezed her hand, offering her comfort when he was the one who needed it most. "It's okay," he whispered, smiling that same reassuring smile he'd worn for decades. "I'm still me." But later, alone in the car, Kelly had broken. Now, live on air, she tried to speak. Her voice cracked. "I wasn't sure I could be here today," she admitted softly, eyes glistening. The audience was silent. Even the cameras seemed to pause. "But Mark told me to show up, because that's what we've always done. We show up." At home, life had changed in small, devastating ways. Mark, once endlessly energetic, now moved more carefully. Some days were good, filled with laughter, shared meals, and memories that felt almost normal. Other days were heavy, painful, quiet. Kelly learned the rhythm of it all, the medications, the appointments, the waiting. The waiting was the worst. Waiting for results, waiting for answers, waiting to see which version of the day they'd get. At night, when Mark finally slept, Kelly stayed awake. She watched his chest rise and fall, memorizing it, terrified of a future she refused to imagine fully. She thought of their children, grown, but still so deeply tied to the man who taught them strength through kindness. How do you tell your kids that their hero is hurting? She wondered. Mark never complained. That somehow made it harder. "I hate that you're carrying this," she told him one evening, tears streaming freely now. "I'd take it from you if I could." Mark reached up, brushing her cheek. "You already are," he said gently. "You're loving me through it." The public noticed the changes before any announcement was made. Fewer appearances, slower steps. Kelly's smile, still present, now tinged with something fragile. Rumors swirled, as they always do, but the truth was simpler and sadder than speculation. This wasn't about headlines. This was about love being tested in its quietest, hardest form. On that morning in the studio, Kelly finally let the mask slip. "I don't know what tomorrow looks like," she said, tears falling openly now. The audience was silent. Even the camera seemed to pause. "But Mark told me to show up, because that's what we've always done. We show up." Somewhere off stage, Mark was watching. He wasn't angry that she cried. He wasn't ashamed of the vulnerability. He was proud. Proud of the woman who stood in front of millions, heart exposed, refusing to pretend that strength meant silence. When the cameras cut, Kelly exhaled shakily. Mark met her backstage, wrapping her in a careful, familiar embrace. "We'll keep going," he murmured, and Kelly nodded,
holding him as if love itself were a lifeline, because right now it was. Not every story has a clear ending. Some are still being lived. And sometimes the saddest updates aren't about loss, but about learning how to hope when certainty is gone.